Hello, hello. Welcome to a Maker Studio. I'm Cheryl. I create over on the Home of My Making Facebook page. So I'm here today to show you a fun new stencil. I love our pattern stencils, and the pattern stencils don't have any words on them. So this particular newly released stencil does not disappoint. It has so much detail. So it is called Butterflies Are Free. See all that detail? So everywhere you see the white, that's where the paint or the gel art ink or the chalk art will go through. So that's where all the detail will be. So it's an all over pattern, and you could use bits and pieces of it, but today I'm going to use the whole entire stencil. So what I did is I had gone to Hobby Lobby and I got this board. This is about a 14 by 14 inch board, and it has the unfinished beads on it. Now, I only paid $5 for this. So what I'm here to show you is how you can make your own DIY decor pieces on the inexpensive side. So this particular stencil is a 12 by 12, but this board is a 14 by 14. Now, as you hop on, don't forget to tag 3 friends, because we will be giving away this stencil today. So if you tag 3 friends and share this video down in the comments side, you would tag your 3 friends and say that you shared it, and you will be in the drawing for this particular stencil. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the Amy Howard at Home Gel Stain in the English Walnut, my favorite color in the line. So I always go ahead and put it into a little container, only because it gives me a little bit more ease of usability out of it. And because I'm a messy crafter, I can throw the container away when I'm done. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stain the inside. And I'm using just a little foam brush. I'm just running it against the edge. I don't want to get it up on the side. So I'm just going to go around the whole entire edge, and then I will go into the center. So I don't want to get it on the side. Now you could tape this off very easily and it would work great, instead of just trying to take it off like I am, but I'm not going to do that. So again, this board was very inexpensive. So when you pair something like this with the stencils, you're going to have your own decor piece that you can enjoy the bragging rights that when somebody comes in your home, they're like, that's nice, where'd you get it? And you could tell them you made it. It also makes a good gift to give if you want to share your knowledge with other people and your talents. This would make a nice gift. So I almost am around the perimeter of this board. Again, I don't want to get it up the sides. I do just want to have it in the center of this particular board. Sometimes I like to, when I have a raw unfinished piece of wood, I like to leave some of it unfinished because it just gives it another element, instead of painting the whole thing. Now, if you're not comfortable with that, you can go ahead and stain the whole entire piece. You can paint it. There's so many variables on this. So what I'm going to do is, once I get a lot of that on there, I'm just going to go and rub some of that off, the excess, and then I could see what I have left to apply. So I'm just using a foam brush and the gel stain. Again, if you're just catching me, we are going to be giving this stencil away today, and it is called Butterflies Are Free. It's an all-over pattern stencil. You could do so much with it. You don't have to use it in its entirety. You could use it in bits and pieces, but it has no words on it, so it makes a great addition to your stencil stash. Sometimes I prefer to not have words in things. This way, if I'm going to group it with a piece that I did that has words with it, it looks great together, so the words are not competing with each other. So this is almost done. So as I put some on, I actually take a lint-free rag and go over it and get all the excess stain off. I like to do it in sections. This way I don't put too much on, and then I don't have to take too much off on the rag. So I love the stains. They show off the wood grain. And again, don't be intimidated by using stain. This particular stain doesn't have any VOCs in it. So even though I'm using it in my craft room, there's no smells permeating into the living room and the family room and the kitchen and the bedrooms. Because it has, you know, an essential oil. It's not like a really harsh smell. In fact, some people can't even smell it. So that's what I have so far. So I only did the interior of it. I didn't do the sidewalls. Now I do want to heat set that. And the only, not heat set it, I want to use a dryer. And the reason why is because I got to go to the next part of this project. You don't have to do this. Since it's a water-based stain, it doesn't take that long to dry. And you could just go and do something else, come back, and then start the rest of your project. But for me, I need it to dry. Again, this is the gel stain in the English walnut. There's a bunch of different stain colors. We have a lovely gray and a lovely black stain that I like to use. So I like to use stains because it doesn't give the opaque coverage of paint. So don't be intimidated by using the gel stains at all. They make a good addition to your craft supplies when you're making projects. And again, this particular stain doesn't have no smell or anything that is toxic to the interior of your house. Amy Howard, by all accounts, has asthma, so when she develops something, she does it so that it's friendly, obviously, to people that have asthma. But we do this stuff in our house, and we don't want to have to always bring it outside to you know, use it because it's got these big chemical smells. This doesn't. And again, it has like a lemony scent to it, or a citrus scent. So I just got that a little bit dry. Now, what I want to do next is, the next thing I'm going to do is take the one-step paint in the Amy Howard line called Bauhaus Buff. Again, I have transferred it to a little cup, a messy painter that I am, and I just want to do the surface of this board. So this surface, I don't want to do inside, and I don't want to do the side. Again, it's just going to give it another little element of design. And then I'm going to have the stain, unfinished part on the back, on the sides, and then on the lip of the inside. So I just want to run my brush gently just on the top. Again, this is a chalk-based paint, no smell to it either. As far as a toxic smell, most of them have the essential oil in it. So there's plenty of times I walk by a project that I do, that I have in my house, and I'm like, what's that smell? It smells good. And it's the paint that I used on the project. That's pretty cool. So what I'm doing is I'm just running down the top of the board. I don't want any of my paint to go on the side, on this lip. This way I'll have three things going on here. I'll have the raw wood look, I'll have the stained, and I'll have the painted. I love this board just because it has those unfinished wooden beads on it to give it another little bit of design right here. Again, I did get that at Hobby Lobby, and they usually have their stuff 50% off. So this was only $9.99. So again, you can make your own decor pieces. You can make this to sell. And if you have a craft booth, but there's so much you can do with a simple wooden board and a Maker Studio stencils, paints, stains, gel art inks, chalk arts. So again, I'm just going over just the top surface, not the sides, just the very top. And I have a brush that has a little bit of an angle on it so that I can get it a crisp line. Again, if you guys are just hopping on, don't forget to tag 3 friends and share this tutorial. Tag your 3 friends down in the comments. That's how they could see if you've done it, and you could be in the giveaway for this particular stencil. We have a lot of other background stencils that I love to work with. Recently, I've done a paisley project. They have the gingham, but I love to add them to my surfaces and my projects. Just making sure I got everything. Now, 1 step doesn't necessarily mean 1 coat. I'm just going over it a little bit. This is a chalk-based paint, so it dries pretty quick, but 1 step doesn't mean 1 coat. It actually means no priming, sanding. Okay, so here's what I'm going to do. I am going to take my heat gun again, and I'm going to dry that surface off. You would just walk away for 15-20 minutes and your chalk paint would be dry. But since I am on this live, I'm going to get it dry so that I don't smear it, so I can get on to the next section. So I hope everybody slid into the new year. I can't even believe it's 2020. Probably a lot of you cannot believe it's 2020, right? Do you guys have your Christmas decorations down? Give me a thumbs up if you have them down. Or if you don't, do you keep them up to a certain time? I actually got a surprise this year. My daughter and my husband took them down for me. And I came home one day and they were all down already. So that was a really nice surprise. Okay, so here's what I have. I got this board that was unfinished with the beads on it, unfinished beads. As you can see, the whole thing's unfinished in the back. But I did do the stain in the center. I didn't do it up the sidewalls, and I didn't do it on the side. And then I just painted the top. Now, like I said, this is a 14 by 14 inch board. The stencil is a 12 by 12, so it fits perfectly in here. Again, you could do this and not have to use the whole stencil. You could almost do this on any surface. It's just an inspiration. I'm going to remove it from the backing. Keep your backing, because when you're done washing this stencil and laying it out to totally dry, you put it back on this backing and then you put it back in the sleeve. And that's how I go about just preparing my stencils for longevity. A little bit of tap water rubbed under the sink with your hand will get the product out, and then you let it air dry, and all you have to do is put it back in that sleeve and you're good to go for many, many uses, because these are reusable adhesive stencils. So what I'm doing is I'm just going to go ahead and burnish this down and just make sure it's tight fitting to the surface. So what I'm going to do, I'm actually going to use the one-step paint today as my medium for the stencil. Did you know you could do that? Did you know you can use the one-step paint with the stencils? I am going to take our little Pouncer dome brush, a foam dome brush, put it in here. I'm going to offload it a little bit. And the reason why I do that is because I don't want it to hit the stencil with so much product in it, and it gets it off, but I still have a bunch on there. So what I'm going to do, the look that I'm going for is I do not want this whole thing to be covered. I want it to look like it's been rubbed off. So I'm not going to do the whole thing in an opaque coverage. I'm actually going to miss some of the spots. And some of it I'm going to make less opaque. This way, when I pull it off, it's literally going to look like it's been there for a while. And some of it has rubbed off. Now the one-step paint is dries pretty quick. So what I would do is try not to dilly-dally too much with the application of the paint with the stencils, because it is drying as we're moving on. So just keep dabbing the whole entire thing. If you want the whole look of it totally being covered, go ahead and do that. Like I said, I actually want it to look like some of it's been taken off. You're still going to see the design, but it's going to look like it has been worn off in various places. And the contrast with the stain on the bottom is going to look really good too. So there's so many variables with this. You could have used paint instead of stain on the bottom to contrast it. It would look good if it was like blue. We have a midnight blue paint that would look good with this white paint on top, because you could stencil right on top of paint with the paint, with the one-step paint. It's snowing out. Okay, so I'm just looking to see, I want to definitely get at least the butterfly showing. It looks like it's all covered, but it's varied. If you could see it, it's not totally covered. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to pull it off. And you're going to see that it's going to look like it's covered in some places and not covered in another. And that's exactly the look I was going for. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in a water bath. See all that product on there? We need that to get out of there. So I'm going to put it in a water bath, but you would go run it under a sink and get it totally out of there and then dry it upside down and let it air dry. Then you'll put it back on its backing. So this is what I have. Isn't that pretty? So it's just a simple look, right? Now, when you pair this with other artwork, even on the wall or leaning up against each other, this doesn't have a lot going on. It's a simple technique. It looks like some of it's taken off. I did do that on purpose. If you don't like that look of a more like a blotchy look, go ahead and do it full bore on the whole thing. But what do you think, guys? It's just a simple look. Again, the stencil is fabulous. You could use it in sections. You could even do some kind of like watercolor look that I've done in past projects. So I hope you come over and join me on the Home of My Making page. Don't forget to tag 3 friends and share this video, and you'll be in the drawing for this particular stencil. So what do you think, guys? Isn't that pretty? It's simple. It's simple. There's so many variations. You could do it in color. You could do it in an ombre effect, but I love this stencil. Look at all that detail. Even with the places that I missed intentionally, it still has a lot of detail, and you definitely could tell that it's butterflies. So go ahead and look up above and you see all the products that I used today. So don't discredit these background pattern stencils. I love them. So thank you guys for joining me, and I'll be back later next week. So have a great day, guys.